Hey everyone, I wanted to share my experience with two different bikes, the Salsa Flyway and the Salsa Stormchaser. My goal with this video is not to convince you to buy one or the other. It's just to lay out the differences and talk about what works for me as a regular guy. Say hello to the Salsa Flyway, their latest gravel bike, and arguably one of the most versatile in the lineup. It comes in a range of builds to suit everyone from the back of the pack to the pointy end of competitive gravel racing. I borrowed this bike from my friends at Dusty Roads Bicycles in Argyle, Texas. If you haven't been, Dusty Roads is the destination for dirt cycling. They specialize in gravel and mountain bikes, but can service anything with wheels. Come hang out, meet the dogs, grab a beer, wrench on your own bike, or let Nico work his magic. This particular build is the Flyway C Rival Explorer suspension. The Flyway sits somewhere between an all-out race rig and an all-day adventure bike. I found it genuinely comfortable, though it is a touch more aggressive than what I'm used to. I'll be honest, I was skeptical at first. As a bigger-bodied cyclist, I've always had concerns about carbon frames, but Salsa is refreshingly transparent about weight limits. All the Flyway models are rated up to 350-pound riders. That's the same as my aluminum Stormchasers, and notably higher than my aluminum Specialized Diverge. The Flyway clears up to 50mm gravel tires and comes stock with Terravale's new Updraft tires. They've been a genuinely enjoyable tire. They're fast on the pavement, I feel confident on them on loose gravel, but in muddy conditions, Salsa recommends dropping to a 45mm since 50 is already a snug fit. We'll compare that clearance to the Stormchaser in a few minutes. The RockShox Rudy fork is, in my opinion, a game changer. With 40mm of travel and 50mm of tire clearance, it transforms the ride feel, especially on routes that mix paved trail with rougher double track. I could really feel it soaking up transitions between surfaces. I also had the chance to ride this bike at Mega Mid-South, and it made those gravel roads around Stillwater noticeably smoother. This bike runs an integrated FSA headset, which is new for Salsa. This keeps cables clean and tucked away. The bars, tape, and cockpit components are all from Terravale's new in-house line. The bars were comfortable, and I especially appreciated the flat section on the tops. The drivetrain is SRAM's 13-speed Rival Explorer with a 42-tooth chainring up front and a 10-46 in the back. That range covers everything from flat sprints to punchy climbs. This is actually only my second time riding electronic shifting, both times on demo Flyways, and I'll say this, the shifting is crisp, quick, and completely seamless. This video is primarily about the Flyway, but since the Stormchaser is what I ride every day, I want to draw a few comparisons. I actually own two Stormchasers, a single-speed and an 11-speed GRX build, and neither one is stock. Both are built exactly the way I want them, so keep that in mind when comparing. The single-speed runs TRP Spire brakes, a 36-tooth up front and an 18-tooth in the back. The GRX has a 38-tooth in the front and an 11-46 cassette. Both are rolling on 2.1-inch Thunderbolts for dry conditions, with a dedicated mud wheel set running Schwalbe G1 RX tires in 45mm. The Flyway truly maxes out at 50mm. The Stormchaser, on the other hand, was built to handle just about anything, and it really shows in the tire clearance. In dry conditions, the 2.1 Thunderbolts fit with room to spare. In thick mud, things do cake up in the rear triangle. On an aluminum frame, that's manageable. You can pedal through it and not really hurt your frame. On carbon, though, that debris that builds up between your tire and the frame can actually cause some damage. Not everyone needs mountain bike-sized tires, but if that's something you want an option for, the Stormchaser has a clear advantage there. I built the single speed first, and it fit so well that I grabbed a second frame to transfer all of the parts I had upgraded on my Diverge over to a Stormchaser. That turned out to be more involved than I expected. The Stormchaser has a few quirks that make it a bit more complicated. It requires a mountain bike crankset with road wheel spacing, which makes chainline and Q factor straightforward on the single speed, but trickier to dial in on the geared build. In the end, I have two comfortable, fast, reliable bikes that I genuinely love riding. I rode my Stormchaser, my geared Stormchaser, at the Mid-South this year, and it was comfortable. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. Got me to the finish line. Flyway, I think, is going to be equally as capable, but it fits a different purpose than the mud-ready Stormchaser frame. Coming from the Stormchasers, one thing that stood out immediately about the Flyway was how dialed it was right out of the box. The shifting was spot on, the chainline was correct, and it used a standard gravel crankset. No tweaks needed. Getting my Stormchasers dialed was a process. I enjoy that kind of tinkering, but it was a nice change to just throw a leg over a bike and go for a ride. Overall, I've really enjoyed my time on the Flyway. If you're looking for a carbon gravel bike that's polished, ready to ride, and built for a wide range of conditions right out of the box, this is a seriously strong option.